Hello and welcome to another Playbook. Starting a new series from this week called Weekend Reading, and I'm starting with one of my all time favorite nonfiction books, Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Uh, Now, the reason I'm starting this series is because I think it's very critical for people to read. I think reading is what gives us great life lessons. We improve ourselves as product builders by reading regularly and keeping in touch with how the science of the world and how the shape of the world around us is changing. So it's very critical to read. And with this weekend reading series, my hope is that I'm able to share at least one interesting, good book with very critical lessons with all of you every week. And you use the weekend to actually go through that book. I'll probably do another video on my reading stack, how I go about reading, because I love to read and I go through a lot of books in a year. So I'll definitely do another video on how I get through a lot of books in a year. But today, let's talk about thinking in bets. Now, Annie Duke was a former professional poker player. She now teaches decision science. She's a very famous author. Her two books over the last few years, Thinking in Bets and How to Decide, are incredibly influential books. I can very easily say that Thinking in Bets over the last few years is probably the book which has had the most profound effect on my own thinking. I recommend it to everyone I meet. I recommend it to friends. I recommend it to my students. I recommend it to colleagues. So, which is why this is the first book that I'm starting off with. Now, Thinking in Bets, essentially what Annie Duke is talking about is that decision making is more probabilistic in nature, and that life is more like a poker game than we give it credit for. Now, the thinking is that good decision making, of course, is very critical to everything that we do. But we tend to think of life in very zero and one sort of binary outcomes scenario, right? You do something, you either win or you lose. But the reality is that just like in poker, where things are probabilistic in nature, so you have a percentage chance of winning. Almost all of life's decisions are pretty much like that. Now, this is strange because human beings, because our animalistic brain, the way we grew, is a very fight or flight brain. Faced with danger, we either stay or we run. We don't try and calculate the probability of us surviving an encounter with a wild animal. But not every decision in life is a life or death situation, and a situation where you either have to fight or flight. Most of the times, you have the option of thinking about things. And when you think about things, you have the option of thinking about them as bets in a probabilistic way. Good poker players do this all the time. Good poker players, on every hand, think about their probability of winning or losing. And sometimes they play really well and they lose because luck plays a big part. And sometimes they play pretty badly and still win because, again, luck plays a part. Now, this is a part worth understanding, that a lot of decisions in life, should I take up a new job? Should I get married? Should I move to a different city? Or a product decision, should I build this feature? Should I not build this feature? These are probabilistic in nature. There is no 0-1 outcome. There's a chance that you might succeed. There's a chance you might fail. Now, the weird part is that when something bad happens to us and we don't succeed, we blame luck. We don't necessarily blame our decision making. And when something good happens to somebody else, we say, oh, he or she just got lucky, right? And we don't give credit to the fact that they might be very good at decision making. So I think what we need to do in life is that we need to distinguish between the quality of our decision making and the quality of outcomes. And what Annie Duke is talking about in this entire book are these two things. That look, just like in poker, in life, luck plays a very big part. And the only thing you can focus on is the quality of your decision making. The quality of outcomes are not in your hand. However, life is not just a series of coin tosses. By making better decisions, you improve your odds of success. So from 50-50, you go to a 60-40 and 70-30. And in a long enough life, when you make a series of good decisions, where your quality of decision making is better, your chances of success increase, and chances of the success of the products that you build will increase. So I think whether you're an individual and you just want to become better at decision making, I would highly recommend both Thinking in Bets and her second book, How to Decide. But if you're a product builder, even then, I would highly recommend that you improve your quality of decision making. You're able to estimate the outcome of your decisions based on their probability. So, take a probabilistic approach to when you're building things. And this will help you build much better products. So, do jump into this book. It has a lot more significant lessons, but I think for me, the most significant lesson is that how do we move from a very binary way of looking at the world to a probabilistic way of looking at the world, just like good poker players do. So I hope you enjoy the book. I hope you read it, and I hope you read her next book as well. And see you back here again for the next playbook. Do subscribe to the channel. Take care.